The Aggies, the Jazz, the high schools. If it's the sport you care about, we're talking about it. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Good afternoon, friends. Eric Frandsen, Ajay, Salvesen. Full Court Press continuing on here on 106.9 The Fan. Love to have you along with us as we continue to discuss what happened over the weekend. Mondays are always big for us to recap all the things that took place, and this past weekend was pretty big. I mean, you had the college football regular season coming to a close with the conference championship games. Some were exciting, some were snoozers. A very exciting weekend in the NFL, at least between the Niners and the Saints. Man, if you could put that game on repeat, well, that was an exciting game. Start to finish, really fun to watch. Controversies we just heard about with the Patriots, and they've not quite looked the same over the last couple of weeks. But Baltimore continues to look really, really good with what they're doing. But we're going to talk a little bit more about Utah State football this hour. They got the invitation to go to the Frisco Bowl. Frisco, Texas is just a little bit outside of Dallas, Fort Worth. And they will be playing in a Major League Soccer stadium. So it's not really that big. It only seats a little over 17,000 people. So should be able to handle a decent number of fans that want to go down there. But it's a decent payout. It's not necessarily the biggest that the Mountain West has ties with, but going up against a team that you should be able to be competitive against and should beat. And the question that seems to be floating around a lot today has nothing to do with Kent State. It doesn't really have so much to do with Gary Anderson and the Utah State football team as a whole, but more about one specific player, and that's Jordan Love. Now, there was a report earlier today that this was first reported by Dan Wetzel, and he says if he doesn't enter the NFL draft, Utah State quarterback Jordan Love is contemplating a grad transfer, per source. Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and Houston, all possible destinations. No decision made. NFL draft grade will weigh heavily. So that was earlier in the day. People started to reply and respond. Where if those were not necessarily the best destinations for Jordan Love, if which school may stand out above the others. Certainly, we know there's a connection at Texas Tech. Oklahoma has a great tradition of taking transfers and making them into Heisman contenders. And one media personality in the Salt Lake area said that if it were to happen, it would be devastating for Utah State football. And I disagreed with that term. I don't think that it would be great for Utah State football, but I don't think it would be devastating for the Utah State football program if Jordan Love were to be a grad transfer to one of those schools. Am I wrong? Would it be devastating?
No, because of one guy. That's Henry Colomby. Henry, by the way, Coach Anderson has spoken extremely high of Andrew Peasley and Henry Colomby. Very high about them. Footwork, IQ, vision, arm. Even when Henry came and subbed in for Jordan Love, he actually thought Henry played really well. I mean, there's a couple things you want to look at, but it's nothing major. So I'm with you. I don't think it'd be great. It's not devastating. It's not like we're like the cupboards are bare right now. Henry Colomby's a really good quarterback. I actually like him a lot, and there's times where I thought he probably should have got some more minutes in the game, more reps. And I hate to say this, but maybe with a better result at times too. That sounds harsh, but
well, there's no question that Jordan Love, in moments, is outstanding. He is fantastic, and he legitimately, if he stayed his full career at Utah State, which he still might, that's not out of the question. It's not out of the cards that he could go down as perhaps the greatest quarterback ever. Now, a lot would depend on what he would do in his senior season. But this has been a rough year for him. He's thrown a lot of interceptions. He has not looked great in a lot of moments in games.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a lot of NFL scouts that are still very high on him despite the poor play that he's had.
I talked to somebody close within the realm of, college football and NFL scout. And it was really interesting. Do you want to know what they said was his best game? NFL scouts thought was his best game. Not even joking on this either. Not kidding.
Air Force.
BYU. They thought...
Really?
Because, and this is really interesting, Eric, people look at numbers, right? I mean, fans look at numbers and they say, oh, we went 12 of 23 for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. That is absolute garbage football right there. Scouts were talking about some of the throws that he made in that game. Throws that they think 20 out of 32 quarterbacks in the NFL starting wouldn't have the guts to make and would be the correct throw to make. He was making reads and throws. These scouts would say that, they're like, man, our quarterback wouldn't have the you-know-what to throw that ball into that kind of a window on that route, looking at that read. They thought that his read progression was quick, to the point, wasn't always right, but that it was quick reads. That he didn't have to take 5 seconds to look at 1 route, 2 route, 3 route, okay, now it's 4. That he could go 1 through 4, bam, just like that, and know where he can go back to.
See, I think there are times when he does that, but there are also a lot of times where he locks on.
Yes.
He stares
CLC Mariner
just
down for
one
about
side of the
seconds.
field and gives the whole defense time to react.
Sure, absolutely. And there's there's deficiencies within his game,
right.
Absolutely. But that every quarterback that goes into the league is going to have a major deficiency where they're like, okay, we really need to work on that with you.
Right.
If he can progress through that deficiency, erase it, and develop, that's what's going to make him a great quarterback. And they said because he has a good IQ level. Like, he can actually learn things really quickly.
Well, and I think something that is advantageous for Jordan Love at the next level is that he doesn't get rattled.
Yeah.
He'll throw a pick, and it'll be a bad throw, and it could even totally change the momentum of the game.
Yeah.
And he comes out like nothing happened.
Yeah,
which sometimes is a bit of a detriment. Like, he doesn't really go to the sidelines and get fired up, but he doesn't let it distract him either.
See, there's one bad throw that he made, and I won't tell you I won't say on air what throw he did make that they're like, ugh. But the crazy thing is that he went back to a similar throw. I guess it was a bad read, not a bad throw, excuse me. Or a bad throw, not a bad read. It was a good read, but a bad throw. So he went back to that read again and made a better throw on the next possession. Almost the exact same throw. And the first throw was nearly picked off. The second throw was right in the breadbasket. And scouts were like, that's what we want to see. We want to see someone come in. Look, look, you got me. Shame on me once, and shame on me twice. It's me. Whatever that saying is, I don't know what it is. Strike 3. But no, they were
Something
really
like
high on
that.
him in that BYU game, and so I went back and actually watched that game. And look, his numbers weren't great, but man, you watch it differently after you hear about stuff like that. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, so people are reacting to this report. Should he go? Should he stay? Would it be, quote unquote, devastating or not? Some people say maybe it's not devastating, but it's bad optics. And Utah State staff may be judged for letting him go, or that he chose to go somewhere else and not stay. But my feeling is Henry Colombi, Peasley, some of the other guys that are already in the system, they're there. And they're going to be good quarterbacks. If he leaves and goes to a big program, or even goes to the NFL, really, I don't know that that's really going to be used in recruiting against Utah State all that much.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, it's still the program that produced this high caliber guy. Now, there's another report. Chase Goodbread, who covers draft prospects for NFL.com. He was in Logan, and he put out a tweet This was last week. And he said, "Greetings from Utah State, where I saw some breathtaking sights and was told by quarterback Jordan Love that rumors of him possibly going to Texas Tech as a grad transfer are way off base. Says it's not a consideration." So has something changed since that came out?
I don't know.
Or is he just trying to not really
play the fiddle on all of us, right?
Just
kind of string us along.
Yeah.
And you know what, dude? I mean, only he knows. And even if you ask him straight in the eyes with a candy cane in front of him, I think he'd still lie to you, or I think he'd still tell you, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'll make a decision when I do. The thing is why go to Texas Tech? Why?
I can think of 3 reasons. Number 1, a head coach who understands you and has a system that works for you. Number 2, an offensive coordinator who knows you and has a system that works for you. Number 3, it's in a power conference where you'll get noticed. In the conference that also favors high-octane offense.
Great, so find another school within that conference. Okay, so reason number 1 that you gave, I feel like reason number 1 could actually validate pretty well here. And reason number 2, very understandable, extremely understandable. Very much understandable, because Yost was really, really good here. Kept it very simple. Nothing complex, short, sweet, and to the point. Reason number 3, like I said, there's other schools I gotta be looking at. From what reports and sources say, Houston is one of them.
All things being equal, Texas Tech or Houston, why would you choose Houston?
Because Texas Tech, he's going to get smashed. Dude, he's going to find it harder in the Big 12 than he would in the Mountain West Conference. And if he looks worse in the Big 12, then what are scouts going to say? Right? And then, where's his confidence going to go?
You have a chance to play in a power conference, get noticed in a lot of big arenas that are going to have a lot of scouts already there.
You talked about some of the bad throws he made and some of the bad decisions he made. Some of those he got away with. I can guarantee you right now, he's not going to get away with any of that in the Big 12. Like Oklahoma State, Baylor, and heck, I'll even put Texas on that list, will light him up. So if you want to be on the big stage, you better be dang good. You better be able to make good throws and good reads, or else they're going to turn those turnovers into touchdowns, and it's going to get ugly quickly. Jordan Love is a good fit here. I know things offensively didn't go to his point. I know that there was rumors of him and, just that the offense was just different for him and he wasn't used to it or whatever the situation was up there. I don't know if Texas Tech is the answer. In that case, you just go to the NFL.
Well, so he has 3 decisions to make. Go to the NFL, transfer to another school, or stay at Utah State. Frankly, for selfish reasons, I would hope that he stays one more year at Utah State. Finish what he started.
Yeah.
Become the all-time record keeper for a couple different statistical categories.
Yeah.
Go down as the greatest quarterback in Utah State history. Or at least be in the conversation.
There we go.
And get this team to a conference championship game. For selfish reasons.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Because you'll have a more experienced offensive line in front of him.
Absolutely with you.
He'll need some help with the wide receiver. But, he'll have some things going for him coming back. I think option number 2, for selfish reasons, number 1 would be to stay here. Number 2, go to the NFL. And number 3, for selfish reasons, transfer to another school. But I think what will happen, in my mind, number 1 would be to go to the NFL. Number 2, I don't know if he'll stay at Utah State or go to another school. I just think that the distance between the option number 1 and option number 2 is so great that I don't know if it's likely that he'll transfer to another school or stay at USU. But I hope he stays. It'd be great if he could stay.
Yeah. And I'd love for him to stay. I would feel bad for the backup quarterback in waiting who's done a good job being patient, but I wouldn't mind having Love stay. But I'll tell you this, going back to the top of your point, it is not devastating if Jordan Love leaves. It's sad. We're bummed out. We love Jordan Love. We think he's a great kid and an incredible quarterback, really great example of what Utah State is and is all about. But it's not devastating to our football team. Gary Anderson's a heck of a football coach. I trust him. I trust the football staff. And I trust that they'll have Henry Colomby or Andrew Peasley or whoever it is next in line, Cooper Legas, whoever it is going to be ready to start for the Utah State IU football team coming up next year. My question now, since we're sitting on this topic, does Jordan Love play in the bowl game on December 20th? Against Kent State?
And that's another fair question.
Or does he sit knowing that he could go to the NFL draft or transfer to Texas Tech and just wait it out?
I think that's another fair question to ask. His regular season game, was it his last in an Aggie uniform? There have been times where high draft prospects have chosen not to participate in their bowl games.
Yeah.
I think, personally, I think it would help his stock if he played. This could be a really good showcase game to... If there have been any doubts about Jordan Love and how well he plays in different situations, this could be a good put a bow on it. Look, here's my resume. Otherwise, it's a good career that he's had at Utah State. His this last season has been very mixed reviews, but go out on a high note. Throw a few more touchdowns. Separate the distance between touchdowns and interceptions that he's thrown this year. Because right now it's about equal.
Yeah.
But we've certainly seen that. Yeah, I think that's for the really high
for sure they're going to get drafted
guys.
In the first round.
Right. Yeah. I don't think he is in that conversation.
Not even as a quarterback with, quarterback-wise, you'll see Hurts go to the NFL, Trevor Lawrence go to the NFL, Joe Burrow might even go as well. So there's 3 quarterbacks. How many teams need a quarterback? I think it's about 3. We'll see from there. Trades and stuff could happen, but I'm with you. I'm not sure if he's a late first rounder, and he might be an early second rounder. But again, scouts could think differently, and things change, by the way, with that regard. So
yes, yeah, very true, very true. We're going to do this. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we're going to hear from Gary Anderson. He held a press conference, kind of impromptu, on Sunday after the announcement that Utah State would be facing Kent State in the Frisco Bowl. And again, Frisco, Texas is just outside of Dallas. It'll be on December 20th. It'll be a 5:30 kickoff on ESPN2. So coming up on the other side, we'll hear from Gary Anderson as the announcement was made and his reactions to it and his team, what the preparations are going to look like over the next few weeks. We'll hear about that coming up next here on the Full Court Press.
The Aggies are number 1 here. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Ajay, Salvesen here. Utah State, Kent State, Golden Flash will be in the Frisco Bowl in Texas. December 20th. Team leaves next Monday. So get ready for a charity event on Tuesday. Media availability will be on Thursday. The Full Court Press will have that media availability for you in its entirety. Players and coaches involved as well. We'll get that out to you so you can hear it as well. By the way, really quickly, Coach Craig Smith, he had his presser today. That is on our website, 1069thefan.com. You can find it there. You can find it in our podcast platform. On Stitcher, iTunes, and Spotify. Just type in the Full Court Press. You can find Eric's name, my name, and the Full Court Press in its entirety as well. Here it is. Coach Craig. Coach Gary Anderson. Craig Anderson's a great coach too. Coach Anderson here in a media conference call with the media discussing about the Frisco Bowl. He starts off with talking about just what it means for the university to be in a bowl game, what it means for seniors, and why it's so imperative to be a part of this opportunity.
Obviously, I think it's a great opportunity. I know very little right now, but it looks like it's going to be a great place for our kids to go to a bowl game. It will be a new experience. Looks like the accommodations will be really cool for our kids. Some kids get to go back home, play back in Texas, so it'll be a great opportunity for them to have family there. The timing, I believe, is good. We'll be able to get our practices in, and we thought it may be a little later, but this is an awesome opportunity for our kids to get the practices that we need and get ready to roll out of here a week from today. And it's going to be a fun bowl. So Kent State, I just remember watching them a few times. I watched them a few weeks ago. I can't remember who they were playing on one of those games, but physical, tough-minded team. Definitely made some strides this year to get themselves where they're going, and we'll learn a lot more about them. But I know they played hard. Head coach played at Wisconsin, if I remember right, from watching that, and Sean, I believe, is his name. So they'll be a good football team, a good challenge, and any of those teams that are from Ohio are tough-minded guys, kids that grew up loving football, play a high level of football. I have great respect for Ohio and really that whole league from the way that those kids play football. So we're excited to get started. We'll jump on them again tomorrow and get the film broken down and start practicing.
How fast will the practices start, Gary? Because the game is, a week from Friday and stuff. How fast do you get back to it?
Tomorrow. Yeah, we'll start. Tomorrow we'll have a little bit of an introduction really on Kent State. It'll be on Tuesday for our kids. Tomorrow we'll have a young players practice, and the older guys will come out and run and move around, start watching tape on their own and with position coaches that are in there. A lot of the coaches were already out on the road recruiting today, so we'll get them back in there. And Tuesday our plan is basically, this is our plan, is tomorrow, like I said, it'll be that practice with the young guys and get an introduction to our older guys really through film and a run and a lift for those guys. On Tuesday will be like a Monday practice for us in the season. Wednesday will be off due to the finals and things that are out there, and a major prep day for our coaches as we get them back off the road. Thursday would be like a Tuesday practice during the season. Thursday would be like a Wednesday, I suppose, and so on and so forth. So we'll work ourselves through the week, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a brief practice, which would be like a Friday on a game week, and then we'll travel on Monday, and then a couple more days of practice there at the bowl site. So we'll jump right into it. That plan's already in place, and we'll present that to the kids tomorrow, and away we go.
Coach Anderson, Kent State's played a ton of close games this year. They've played 8 games decided by 8 points or less. How extra intriguing does that make the matchup, knowing that you're going against a team that's been in a lot of those close battles?
Well, it kind of sounds familiar, right? I mean, a lot of those games that they were able to win and get bowl eligible, obviously. Like I said, I've just seen them from afar on TV on one of those MAC games that are on in the middle of the week, and they got where they're at in a very, very tough conference. I've always had a ton of respect for that conference, and to get bowl eligible in that conference is not easy. And I know they're a team that's on the rise and got themselves. They'll be very excited to go to the bowl just like we will. So close games. They've won enough to get themselves bowl eligible, and they're excited and we're excited to go to this bowl. It looks like it's a great opportunity for all of us.
Yeah, from what I've heard, Coach, this stadium down there is supposed to be kind of a neat new place in Texas, looking for football games like this and all. And, have you found out anything about isn't it pretty close to Dallas? Isn't that where Frisco is? Or what's the logistics there?
Yeah. I think it's right. It's like 30 miles from, depending on where you're going in Dallas. So it's basically the outskirts of Dallas when you're in the city that big. So, that's a stadium that I believe seats 20,000 people, so that's a great venue for a game like this, in my opinion. It's a great spot for people to go travel to, and to me, it's a good time. It's a good time to be able to get there and see a game on Friday night, and it's an easy place to get to on an airplane. There's few airports around there that you can fly into, so we're excited. I think the venue is really cool, and just briefly looked at the bowl itinerary, and obviously this bowl is doing it the right way for the kids, for the fans, and everybody that's involved. So it looks like it's going to be it's an exciting time for these kids to be able to get to a place they haven't been to before and playing against a team that's hungry and excited to get to a bowl game, just like the Aggies are.
Is there a benefit to playing a game in Texas where you guys recruit but you don't get to play during the year?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got a couple coaches that are assigned to recruiting areas. In fact, 3 of them have different recruiting areas in Texas. So some of them it's their main spot they go to. Some of them it's a secondary spot, and so to get a Utah State presence in Texas, I think is big. But it's exciting for those few kids we have on our team from Texas to be able to go back home and have family and friends around them. I think that'll be a special experience.
Coach, how much more exciting, stressful, or anything like that is it to prepare for a bowl game versus any other game in the regular season?
Oh, it's no more stressful. It's just I look at it as a great opportunity. You have plenty of time to prepare whenever you're playing, whether we played on the 20th or we played on the 31st or we played on the 4th. You dictate your structured time to basically say, hey, you'd like to, in our opinion, we would like to be able to treat it as kind of like you have a bye week and then you have a game prep week, and that's really what we've gotten. When we squeeze it in a little bit and get started, we had to jump start and formulate a plan, but it's absolutely no more stressful. But it's a great opportunity to prepare, and I'm sure Kent State looks at it just like we do. It's an opportunity to play one game, and there's a trophy involved, and there's a champion, and it's a bowl game championship that you're playing for, and it's a very meaningful game. I know it means a lot to our kids, and I'm sure it'll mean a lot to those kids. So you're going to see two teams are excited to play in the bowl game.
Is there, Coach Anderson, is there any effect with the new way more signings happen now in December than in February that this affects recruiting, this game being so fast, and for you guys and not being able to, now you have to pull everybody back off the, off the recruiting trails and get going again with preparation?
Yeah, with our class this year, this is a little bit fortunate for us because we don't have a giant class, which we've talked about for a long months and months and months now. So, we'll still have some coaches, go out on the road, and I'll be out on the road on Monday. I'll be out on the road on Wednesday, and probably Monday through Wednesday, and do what we have to do to get that done. But we'll adjust some schedules. But if we were planning on signing, 15 or 20 kids on the early signing day, that would be a bit stressful. But because of where we're at this year, we'll handle it and manage it, get to the kids that we need to get to. And I think a lot of our kids that we're recruiting, we'll understand the certain situation that we're in right now and the placement of this bowl game, and we'll adjust as needed, but it does not affect us in a negative way at all. And the fact that you're going to a bowl game, and we're going to a bowl game in Texas, is a great recruiting tool, and that we're going to the first, it's a great opportunity to build on recruiting and show people, where we're going, and we've got an opportunity to go to a bowl game, which in my opinion is a great recruiting weapon.
Coach, how much of an opportunity do you see this as a way to kind of end the season on a high note, considering the Mountain West Championship eluded you in this particular year? Yeah,
it's we understand exactly where we sit within the Mountain West. We dropped 2 games and didn't get a chance to play in the championship, and those 2 teams that Boise obviously played in the championship and represented themselves very well, and Hawaii was in there. They're on the other side, and Air Force was right there on our side battling to the end also. So, we understand where we fit this year. We're the 6-2, took 3rd place on our side this year in the league, and now we have an opportunity again to go play for a championship. And I think it's really important to, really stress that with the kids and understand that it is a tremendous opportunity. It's an honor to be able to go to a bowl game, and there's a lot of people that put a lot of things out there for these young men to be able to go to bowl games and for our university to be able to go to a bowl game. So it's a huge responsibility to prepare the right way, and it's a huge responsibility to play the right way, not just for your school, but for college football as a whole. These people are putting the bowl game together for us, and they expect the football team to come in and play at a high level, and that's exactly how we'll approach it.
You finished that last game, Coach, and won. Is there any injury concerns going into the bowl game? Do you feel like you're, for the most part, you already had the guys out for the season. Do you feel like you're in pretty good health to play this bowl game?
Yeah, I think we are right now. We'll see as we go through the next week or so. There's a couple question marks that are out there, but we'll see where that goes. And it will also, we prepared last week through our practices that we had to be able to play a handful, I would say, of young players that haven't played much, that still have a redshirt game available for them, and we will get them in this game. It may be a special teams role, it may be an offensive role, it may be a defensive role, but we're excited to get a couple young kids another opportunity to compete and play in this football game, and they'll deem that as a tremendous opportunity, I promise you that.
Sorry. I just saw Jimbo's slide. Gets me every time.
He's a national treasure. At least a Utah treasure.
That's Coach Gary Anderson.
Yes.
Anything stand out to you, Eric?
Well, just a few things. Just he's excited to go to Texas, have a bowl game in Texas, recruiting opportunity. There's player connections there, so good for them to be able to attend. It's easy to get to. It's not like fly in somewhere, then get on a bus, and then travel somewhere. So that's good. I also liked what he talked about there at the end about opportunities to get some younger players opportunities who haven't reached their 4-game minimums yet before they reach that red shirt kind of threshold. So I like that opportunity that Utah State has. And that's really one of the great things about going bowling. It doesn't matter really where you go. Sometimes it does, but the real benefit of going to a bowl game isn't necessarily the venue, isn't necessarily the opponent. It's that you get extra practices with your team. You get more time to develop your young guys, and you give your seniors one last chance to go out on a high note. So there's a lot of benefits to going to a bowl game, and I like how they're approaching it. We'll learn more about the bowl and the venue and the opponent a little bit later on this week and into next week as well. Anything to send out to you from what Gary had to say?
A couple of things just based on, he's going to be gone for recruiting all this week. So there was questions, hey, is there going to be a presser leading up to them leaving? There is not, because he'll be gone recruiting. All his coaches are recruiting, and then the whole December 18th period, right? That's when the early recruiting, I guess, signing is. But he's not really worried about that. They're going to take advantage of as much as possible, but they're not. It's not their main focus. What their main focus is coming in February. When is it February when the final signing period is?
Yes, early February.
That's kind of their main goal. That's what their target is. So,
yeah, I thought there were some interesting comments from Gary Anderson about getting to a bowl game, the health of his team.
Yeah,
and just the opportunity for extra practices.
Yep, and then I guess the young kids were at it today. Rest of the team comes in tomorrow. They'll get at it on Kent State. So we'll go from there.
All right, coming up next here in the Full Court Press, you had a game you wanted to play.
Yes. Oh, yes. It is the game of games.
Wow. That sounds fun.
And by the way, our listeners will love it.
Okay, stay tuned for that. Plus, we'll get an update on things that happened this past weekend in the Mountain West for basketball. And so stay tuned for that coming up on the Full Court Press.
Interviews, analysis, and a little bit of fun mixed in. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Eric Frandsen, Ajay Salvesen. Thanks for joining us on a Monday.
Welcome back.
Hope you had a good weekend.
Hope it was worth it. Being gone for a whole week and leaving me out to dry.
Hey, you know what? Because I had you do a lot of extra work, and you had to do extra work for not just me, but for others.
Yes.
I brought you some. I got you a little something.
No way.
Yeah.
Because I won pick 6 last week. I voted for you.
Easy for you to do.
Thank you.
Did you even see what it is?
No. Do you want me to open it now? I just don't know if it's appropriate to open gifts in front of our listeners.
It's appropriate.
Oh, hey! Well, this would have been good for last night. Could have freaking just ripped these off and cut them into shreds.
I almost bought you a mask, that picture I shot.
Oh, dude, that thing was sweet.
Found a store that had all kinds of luchadors. Is that what you call them? The Mexican wrestlers that put the masks over them. They had all kinds of varieties. I almost bought one of those. Said I got you some Patriot socks. Something for your stinky feet. Because the Patriots, they stink right now.
Yeah, we know.
I don't know if they stink. They're showing themselves more vulnerable the last 5 games.
I would agree.
Yeah. Ajay, you had a game you wanted to play.
Yeah.
We talked about bowl games earlier. Utah State's going to the Frisco Bowl to face Kent State, the Golden Flashes.
Yes, Kent State, the Golden Flashes. So here's the game I want to play. I'm going to give you bowl names, and I want you to guess where it will be at, the state or city.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
You ready?
Okay.
Or should I just give you this? No.
No, you give me the.
Yeah, that'll be easier.
I'll try to figure out the city
or
state.
what stadium if you want to. One of the three.
Okay.
Celebration Bowl.
Celebration Bowl. Florida.
It is in Atlanta, in Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Oh.
Alcorn versus North Carolina A&T.
How do they get so lucky to have a bowl in a venue like that?
I don't know. The Celebration Bowl, too. The Cure Bowl.
The Cure Bowl. Isn't that in the Bahamas?
It is not. It is in somewhere warm. It is in Orlando, Florida. At Exploria Stadium. The Sherry Boca Raton Bowl.
Oh, that's in Boca Raton. That's in Florida.
Yes. Wow. Didn't know that was a city. The Camellia Bowl.
Oh, is that in South Carolina?
It is not. It's in Montgomery, Alabama. Let's do the...
I'm not doing very good at this game.
This is fun, though. The Quick Lane Bowl.
Oh, Quick Lane Bowl. Isn't that in an indoor stadium?
Yep.
In Indianapolis? Or is it in Detroit?
It's in Detroit. Good job. Ford Field. New Era Pinstripe Bowl.
Oh, that's in New York.
Yep. What stadium?
Yankee Stadium.
Yes, sir. Let's see here. Cheez-It Bowl. Where's it at?
That's in Arizona.
You know what city?
Phoenix.
Yes. The Camping World Bowl.
Oh, man. Camping World Bowl. Where is that? Texas.
It's Orlando, Florida, at Camping World Stadium.
Oh, shoot.
Okay, where is the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl held at?
Oh, that's in Georgia.
Yep. Stadium?
Mercedes-Benz.
Yes, sir. The First Responder Bowl.
Oh, isn't that in San Francisco?
It is not. It's in Dallas.
Oh.
Jade Ford Stadium. The Music City Bowl?
That's in Music City. Memphis.
Try Nashville. Red Box Bowl?
Oh, Red Box Bowl. Shoot. Louisiana.
Levi Stadium, Santa Clara, California.
Oh.
I'm surprised you didn't know that one.
I'm doing terrible at this game.
You do suck. I thought you'd be better at this. I got to be honest with you. I thought this would be somewhat fun. It's actually not that fun. The Citrus Bowl.
That's in Florida.
Do you know the stadium?
Where the Dolphins play.
Camping World Stadium. Incorrect. Let's see here. I'll do... Holy crap. The Gator Bowl. You know the city. I know you know the state, but what's the
Jacksonville.
City? Yes. Very well done. And the Armed Forces Bowl.
Isn't that in Fort Worth?
It is. Yep. So, not really good on your part. You kind of sucked.
I probably got like a C-.
Let's try D. Let's try D.
Less than half. Right.
No, that's kind of cool, though.
There are, 39 total bowls?
Yeah. Yeah. Freaking 39, dude. Which is amazing.
78 bowl-eligible teams. I think there were a few more than that. But pretty much everybody who was bowl-eligible went bowling this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Toledo was the only team left out.
Utah State's going to be facing Kent State. They're from the MAC. They were 5-3 in their conference, 6-6 overall. As we heard in the press conference, they had how many games? Was it 6 games decided by 8 points or less? Quite a few close games for them. And so they were in a lot of games. Not a lot of games where they got blown out. They did have 3 games against Power 5 schools. They played Arizona State to start the season and lost 30-7. They played, at the time, number 8 Auburn and lost 55-16. And at the time, they played at Wisconsin and lost 48-0. Those are 3 of their losses. Their other losses came at Ohio versus Miami of Ohio and at Toledo. They had a 3-game losing streak. And then they had kind of a turnaround. They were able to close it out and won their last 3 games of the regular season. At home against Buffalo, at home against Ball State, and on the road at Eastern Michigan.
What did you say last year was Eastern Michigan? Ball State and who?
Eastern Michigan.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure I heard right. By the way, did you see Devon Anderson's tweet quoting Dan Wetzel? It's just...
Should that tell us something?
At this point, like, it's just kind of funny. Look, Jordan Love is a great fit at Utah State. He's a great example of Utah State. Whatever he decides to do is what is going to be best for him in his situation. Only Jordan Love knows that. So I hope Mr. Dan Wetzel actually has an idea what he's talking about instead of just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing if it sticks. Because I don't think Jordan Love's going out there and being like, hey, psst, Dan, listen, it's Jordan Love. Will you hop on Twitter and tell everybody I'm going to transfer? I'm thinking about it. Jordan Love ain't going to freaking do that. And Jordan Love I don't think Jordan Love would have that big he has a ton of friends, but to have that big enough a group where he'd tell everybody around him. So how about we let Jordan Love make the decision? That's just me, though. What do I know?
Well, he certainly does have some decisions to make. He's a high enough caliber quarterback where he is in a position to have those kinds of decisions to make. Do I go to the NFL, where I can earn millions of dollars and have a chance to play at the next level, the highest level? Do I take a chance to go to a bigger named program, quote unquote, and try to improve my stock even further? Chase something that I'll never be able to get at USU, despite all the preseason Heisman talk. He was never going to win the Heisman at Utah State.
No.
Or stick around for another year and help Utah State get to a conference championship game, refine my craft, and go down as one of the best quarterbacks ever at Utah State.
And what is this local media guy saying that it won't help recruiting and it leaves current staff open to criticism, fair or unfair? What in the world are you talking about?
So is this coaching staff open to criticism because...
No.
What's his name? Safety left.
Jamarcus?
Yeah.
No, dude, that was... Look, there's a story...
Jamarcus Ingram left before the season.
That's a story beneath the
transferred to
ground.
a Power 5 school.
No.
Are they going to be open to criticism now?
No.
Fair or unfair?
That's such bull.
No.
There's a story beneath the ground about Jamarcus Ingram, and that was Ingram's call. And by the way, you should look up how many minutes Ingram's play in a game, or how many plays he's played. It's not a lot. He's finding out the hard way that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, no matter how big the school is and how talented he thinks himself is. And he's extremely talented. He would have started here. But that's such baloney. And the fact that you say it can't help recruiting has anything to do with it.
Yeah, I don't.
Wow,
look,
that's okay.
How many offers did Jordan Love have coming out of high school?
Not many. One, didn't he?
One. Who made him into a star? Utah State.
Yeah.
Is that going to hurt? Is that going to go against Utah State in recruiting? Because that guy eventually went on maybe to another school and legit Heisman opportunities or national championship opportunities? No. You can't. No. I don't see it. Plus, Utah State's in a good position with who they have waiting in the wings.
Yeah. I look, Henry Colomby's ready to go. That kid's a heck of a quarterback, too. I'm excited to see him. I mean, I think it's key. Do we need to take another break?
We do.
Oh, let's come back and let's talk Utah Jazz. They got Oklahoma City tonight. And by the way, key game, and this is a key stretch. When I say key stretch, the next 20 games. And I'll tell you why.
All right, we'll discuss coming up on the Full Court Press.
It's the Full Court Press, weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Eric Frandsen, Ajay, Salvesen, last couple of minutes with you here on the Full Court Press. Want to clarify, you said Devon Anderson, tweeted something about Dan Wetzel. We talked about Dan Wetzel. He had a tweet earlier saying Utah State quarterback Jordan Love could transfer as a graduate transfer if he doesn't enter the NFL draft. Oklahoma, Houston, Texas Tech, possible destinations. Well, Devon Anderson retweeted that with the laughing, crying emojis. So not as in, yep, I think this is going to happen.
Oh,
as
sorry.
in,
Sorry.
haha, this is funny.
Sorry, that I should have been better about that.
So
That's my fault.
Just to clarify that.
Yeah, no, that's my fault. I should have been better about clarifying that, yeah. He was not at all confirming anything at all whatsoever.
No, he's basically laughing at the notion.
Yeah.
But it could still happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know what? If it does, good for Jordan Love. Why should anybody feel upset about
When
that?
does he need to make a decision by? January? What, is it January something he needs to make a decision by? Is that correct?
That's a good question. It might have to be before the end of the calendar year. I'm not sure. That's
I'll have to look that up. Eric, speaking of laughing at, a lot of people are laughing at the Utah Jazz right now. Not a really great start to the season. They do beat Memphis 126-112 on Saturday night.
Yeah, they should be. They're only 13-10. They're barely above 500.
And that's what I want to get to. That's a great point, a great segue into this, Eric. 20 in the next 20 games from December 9th tonight when they face the Oklahoma City Thunder to January, we'll go, holy cow, we'll go to January 20th versus Indiana. No, sorry, January 18th to Sacramento. Between now and then, guess how many teams they face with a 500 record or better?
5.
Try 3.
Really?
Minnesota, Miami, and Clippers. Minnesota on the 11th, Miami on the 23rd, Clippers on the 28th, all this month. Everybody else is under 500 and significantly under 500.
So Jazz really have an opportunity to make a run here.
Yeah,
Currently sixth in the standings in the West.
So you said the 13-10 right now?
13-10.
With 3 games over 500 teams versus 500 better teams in the next 20 games, what is your prediction on their record in the next 20 games?
That they go, well, I would say 15-5.
I like that. I'm going to go 17-3. I think they lose at Miami, and I think they lose to the Clippers. That's at LA. I think they lose those 2 games, and then I think they lose one more that they shouldn't lose because you know how the Jazz are. They like to lose a game that
I'd like to say higher than that.
Oh, me too.
I'm skeptical.
I'm with you. I think maybe at Washington they lose. It's part of that 3. It starts a 3-game road swing up to Brooklyn and New Orleans. 17-3. But 17-3 gets you to what now?
30-13.
And you're sitting at that point third.
Should be pretty.
Third in the Western Conference.
Pretty high. Yeah.
We'll take it.
So, Danilo Gallinari is out tonight.
What? Really?
So I think that bodes well for the Jazz.
Oh, thank goodness. That helps.
So
is there anybody out for us?
Not
Conley?
Connolly, yes.
He is
still out.
Okay.
Anyway, pregame coverage coming up in less than an hour, starting at 6:50. And we'll have the full Jazz coverage right here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, your new home for the Utah Jazz for Northern Utah. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you missed it, don't forget to visit our website, 1069thefan.com, or subscribe to us on different podcast feeds. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.